This playlist is for you if you're looking for CELPIP writing content. I'll be sharing everything that you need to know for writing task 1 as well as task 2, covering brainstorming, articulation of ideas, structure, as well as coming up with examples that are personal so that you give that extra personal touch whenever you're writing an email or a survey, depending upon the situation that is presented to you. What are you waiting for? Quickly click on the subscribe button and follow us. The third skill set that is assessed by the CELPIP test is your writing skill. So in case of the writing test, there are two tasks. Task 1 is email writing and task 2 is responding to a survey question. For the task 1, you get maximum of 27 minutes, and for task 2, you get 26 minutes to complete the task. Now, both of these tasks have certain word limit or word count. In case of both task 1 and 2, you have to write the answer within 150 to 200 words. Anything below 150 or way above 200 will lead to penalization. So make sure that you stick to the word count. There are no unscored tasks in case of the writing test, unlike the listening and reading test, wherein you have unscored tasks which are used for test development purposes. Now, one more important thing that you have to keep in mind is that once you move from task 1 to task 2, there is no returning back. You cannot go back and edit it, you cannot proofread. So once the 27-minute timer or 26-minute timer is done, you cannot go back or make any changes to your answer. So when you're writing the task 1, make sure that out of this 27-minute period, you spend somewhere around 3-4 minutes to proofread, and similarly in case of the task 2, within those 26 minutes you spend around again 2-3-4 minutes for proofreading, because then you cannot come back to the same question. Now, there are certain very special features that you get in case of your writing test, which is number 1, the spell check feature. I'll give you the details of that. And the second one is the editing functions. These are really important. I'll give you a quick brief about both. The first one is spell check, and it is one of the most commonly used features in our day-to-day writings, whether it's an email, survey, essay, whatever it is. We use it when we are using our computers or laptops. So here as well, you get the option of a spell check. However, be very mindful, because the spell check is not going to tell you whether to use there, or they are, or effect or effect. Right, so they're not going to tell you which is the right word. They will only tell you, the spell check will only create a red line underneath the word that is misspelled. So if you're using THEIR instead of they are, then it is perceived as correct. The spelling is correct, but then it might not make sense in the sentence. So you're getting your spellings checked, but not the context checked. So be very mindful of that. Don't blindly follow the spell check. The second feature that we have is the editing functions. So you can cut, copy, paste just like you would do on your personal laptops and devices. So basic editing features like cut, paste, copy, delete, undo, redo by right-clicking on the mouse is available. So let's say you've written a sentence in body paragraph 1 of your survey, but you want to move it to body paragraph 2. You can quickly select that, cut it from there and paste it in the other paragraph. So it's as simple as that. Moving on to how the task 1 looks like. You have to write an email. The topic could be related to a day-to-day matter. For example, you may be asked to write a letter to a company making a complaint, or to say how satisfied, happy you are with the company's service. So it's something that we would come across almost on a daily basis. So there's nothing to be worried about. It is going to be a very familiar situation that you have come across time and again. So you have to keep a few things in mind. Number 1, you have to use the right register. Choose the right words and phrases to create an appropriate register. Be aware of how formal or informal you can be. So that's one. Of course, I'll discuss all of these things in detail when I start solving task 1 and task 2 separately in the upcoming videos. Then you have to stay on the topic. That's pretty obvious, be it any question, task 1, task 2. You have to stay focused so that you're fulfilling the task at hand. Keep your emotions under control. When it's a complaint about a bad product or unsatisfactory service, you can express your disappointment and dissatisfaction, but it is supposed to be appropriate. It should not be blown up, or it should not be mellowed down. It should be as it would be accepted in a general situation. So you don't have to be extremely happy or euphoric in a happy situation, or you don't have to sound extremely agitated, depressed, or annoyed on a negative situation. So make sure that your emotions are presented in the right intensity. Phrase things appropriately. Word choice and sentence structure greatly affect the impact of your writing. Choosing your words carefully will result in a much more effective email message. This is something we especially focus in our one-to-one classes for CELPIP. We make sure you choose the right words. We make sure that you do not deviate from the topic. And we also ensure that you know the topic specific vocabulary needed for a specific email or a survey. Then the last part is include enough information to inform the reader. The goal of the email is always to get someone to do something. So you need to provide enough information to support your request. So your information should be detailed, for which we follow something known as PEE. So we have a point, we explain it, and if needed, we give an example for it. To know more about such things, you can enroll for our classes to get a better idea of how things work and how these strategies can be put into practice. As a test taker, this is what you would see on your screen. So writing task 1. Here you read the information. This is like a background situation. They give you an idea of what's going on, and then the actual questions are asked on the right side of the screen. You have 27 minutes to complete the first task, and if you by mistake click on the next button here, you will not be able to come back. So do not click the next option till it automatically takes you to the next slide, or let's say the next page, once 27 minutes are over. So on your left hand side, you have the background, which is really important for you to read, because if you don't read that, you will not be able to understand the question properly without the background information, and then you might end up deviating from the topic. Task 2 is responding to survey questions. So this is how your screen would look like. On the left hand side, again, you have the survey question or the background of the question, and the actual question is on your right hand side. So left side you have the background information, and on the right hand side of the screen you have the actual question, wherein you have to choose from one of these two options, option A or option B. You have to choose it and click on one of these dots. It's like an MCQ kind of feature, and then whichever option you choose, you have to justify your answer. So you have to tell why are you opting for option A or why are you opting for option B. There should be specific reasons explaining your stance. For the task 2, you have to keep in mind 3 things. First and foremost, you have to read the question and imagine yourself in that particular situation. So if the question is about a certain company, you're imagining yourself as an employee. If the question is about you being a parent to a school kid, you imagine yourself being a mother or a father of a school kid, so on and so forth. So you're putting yourself into the shoes of the character of the situation, and then you carefully review all the information provided in the prompt on the left hand side. So whatever information is given to you, you understand it properly, and then you brainstorm the ideas. You see the pros and cons of option A, then you see the pros and cons of option B, and accordingly you decide which one you want to favor. There is no right choice, there is no wrong choice. So there is no right or wrong answers. You can choose option A, you can choose option B, depending upon which one you have more content to explain or justify your option. So if you're favoring option A, you need to have at least 3 to 4 points why option A is better than option B, or at least 1 point why option B is not good. So you have to write at least 3 to 4 points to justify your stance. And then you organize and plan. So plan what you want to write, which reasons will you include, which ones will you not. And this thing is really important. A lot of times students think that to come up with a difficult idea or a difficult justification to their stance is better. That's not the case. Always pick the options or always pick the ideas that are easier for you to express. Now, if you pick up a difficult idea because you want to become Albert Einstein, you will not be able to reflect that on the sheet of paper, or in this case, you'll not be able to type that complex idea. So stick to simpler ideas, because here no one is checking your IQ. The IELTS test or the CELPIP test or any English proficiency test is not gauging your IQ. It is basically assessing how beautifully you can express yourself. So just focus on expressing that idea well using proper grammar and vocabulary. So list your reasons and decide how you want to organize them. And again, for the organization part, it's better that you join the classes to know the nuances, the do's and don'ts, and then we'd be able to showcase how you can ensure that the examiner is satisfied with your answer. So that's it for today. We have covered the format of the writing module and what would be expected out of you, how the screenshots of the questions look like. So if you have any questions, you can write it in the comment section below, and I'll ensure that I get back to it as soon as possible. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Bye-bye.